Hi guys, it's Lana and welcome back to my channel for another video. Now as you can see, I've got everything parked in the car, including the dog, because today I'm going to take you with me to spend the morning with me. So we've got an Andrea Smith test riding clinic in the morning. I don't think you're going to get to see much star action because unfortunately my mum's lesson is directly after my star lesson to give me time to get Ella ready for her lesson, which is after mum's. So she's not going to be around to video because she'll be busy warming up, which is, you know, kind of rude. Doesn't she know she's a full-time videographer? Oh well, I'll let her off this once. So yes, you'll be seeing Ella doing her test riding clinic, and then I'm also going to do a little bit with Dave, and then it'll just be normal yard duties so you can just spend some time with me. So she has currently got on her equilibrium massage pad, which is just making her back feel a bit better before we go into the test riding clinic. Yesterday I did compete on Ella, so she's just doing the one test today. And yesterday she was quite hollow and we lost a few marks for that just because I couldn't get her to go over her back a bit more because I think we've had some troubles with the bits. So I've changed the bits around to move them a little bit, so hopefully she's a bit more comfortable today. I'm going to try again today, see how she goes. It'll be really good to get some advice from Andrea because she is one of the judges that we struggle to get the higher marks off of. So really respect her opinion and hopefully I'll finally crack the Andrea code. So let's get started. Right guys, I am all on and ready. Ella's in her goggles because it is sunny and windy today and her eye was just a bit teary, so I was like, gonna protect it. But me and Ella will be riding medium 75. She's gotten, I've literally thrown the tack at her so quick. So we'll be riding medium 75. I've literally just learnt it in the walk over, so hopefully I remember it. And Andrea will hopefully be able to tell me what I need to fix. Right then, so following a short session with Andrea, getting Ella to really engage the hind and try and come through a bit more, we started riding through at medium 75. Now for my entry and my halt, I scored a 7, and the only reason we didn't score more is because we lacked some engagement into the halt. And then moving off was really nice. Ella felt good. She was giving me a nice bouncy trot here. And then the next movement was a shoulder in right. Now we only scored a 6 for this because she needed softer flexion on the right rein. So as you can see here, she's come a little bit tense. So she's showing the fact that she's not truly through in some of that lateral work. Then for the circle right, 10 meters diameter, we scored a 7, which yay, that's nice. And then next was traverse, which we also scored a 7 for. Now the traverse versus the shoulder in, the traverse, she's got much more of a true bend through there, whereas the shoulder in, she's showing the tension a little bit. So then next we come onto the centre line and you half pass right. Now we scored a 6 for this because A, I overshot the centre line, which slapped the jockey, and B, she was a little high in the neck. Then we were followed by a medium trot, which we scored a 7 for, which is very nice. And then next we were on to, again, the shoulder in left. Now we only scored a 6 for the shoulder in because we hurried out and we were a bit unbalanced and there was just a little lack in bend and fluency. Then going into the 10-meter circle, we scored a 7 for that. So our circles are quite good. I managed to get them the correct size this time, before scoring a 7 for the traverse again, which is really good. So she's finding the traverse a lot easier than the shoulder in, so that is something to take away from this and work on. Next, for the half pass left, we scored a 7 for this. Now this was because she was a little more relaxed. A, I didn't overshoot the centre line, and B, she came down in the neck a bit more. And then we've got a medium trot, which we actually scored a 6.5 for, which was a bit of a shame because normally medium trots are party pieces, but that was because they needed clearer engagement and a clearer transition. Then we've got our halt rein back 5 steps, which we actually scored a 7.5 for, but the only issue we didn't score higher was because it was a little quick on the rein back. Then we have our medium walk, followed by an extended walk, and then finally we've got the pirouettes at the end. So going into our extended walk here, we did score a 7 for it. And this was because Ella had plenty of freedom and you can see she was nice and over her back here. But next what was coming up was our half pirouettes, and I find the half pirouettes quite difficult because in the medium walk I do feel like Ella comes up a little, and seeing as that's been the focus of the session, it was going to be interesting to see how she reacted this time. So first we had collected walk, turn left, and then half pirouette left, which we scored a 6 for because guess what, she was a little high in the neck, and you can see that here in the video and I could feel it when I was riding her. However, I was quite happy that we managed to maintain somewhat of the rhythm, which was good, and it wasn't too large. Then for a half pirouette right, we scored a 6.5. And this we scored so well because it was a fair size. However, we didn't score any higher because once again that there was a higher neck and a little bit of tension. Then we've got the collected walk, which we scored a 7 for, and then we proceeded and collected canter and turned left, which we also scored a 7 for, before being followed by the medium canter, which we got a 6.5 for, and that is because it faded early, so it's really clear here that I really need to sharpen up my transitions. Then we've got to turn down the centre line and half pass left, which we scored a 6.5 for, and this is because we needed it to be more sideways, so this became more of a diagonal line rather than getting her to cross over. Then the half circle right 20 metres in diameter in counter canter scored a 6 because once again her neck came high. You can see there's a theme here. And then there was a simple change that came up, which we scored a 7 for, and that was good because she was nice and obedient, which was nice. Coming up next, we've got the turn down the centre line and a half pass right this time, which we actually scored a 7 for, which is an improvement, and that's because there was nice engagement throughout. However, I just didn't score any more because I needed more engagement to finish. Then for our counter canter, we scored a 6.5, which is a little bit disappointing because normally Ella can counter canter for days, so I like to think it's one of our good things, and that is because Andrea wanted a bit more balance and more engagement. So we scored a 7 for our simple change, which was cracking. We've been working on those, so it's nice to see the scores starting to pay off from that little bit. And then we've got a change to rein and extended canter coming up. Now I find these quite difficult. It's not really our forte because we've not developed that canter just yet. But she did score a 6 for it, which is actually quite good. I'm pleased with that. And that is because Andrea wanted her to be more over her back and her strides flattened a little bit, which was a shame. Then we've got, now this comes in all in one section. So you've got collected trot, change rein, extended trot, and then collected trot again. So if you mess up one movement in this entire score comes down. And you can see she's going for it across here. And there we go. So we scored a 4 for our change rein and extended trot, which was a real shame because that is what I like to think our proper party piece. And Andrea said there was a nice start and it was a pity that she broke, but it is what it is. And then of course we've got the collected trot, turn left onto the centre line. And we scored a 7 for that. Didn't score any high because it was a little quick. I think she was a little bit excited. And then coming down the centre line, we also scored a 7 for our halt, immobility and salute. Right guys, so after we've done the test riding clinic this morning, I have decided that I am going to show you guys me sitting on little David. There you go, his cute little ears. So I am being very careful right now because he's a bit wary of when my hands start flailing on top of him. So if I move this phone, Dave might give it some side eye. But now I'm going to give him a little trot round. I'm going to try and introduce a few more suppling exercises and a few more transitions today on David. So with Dave, we are very much in the early stages. So before this, I had just introduced serpentines for the very first time, and these were only 3 loops, so it was just in walk, getting him to change his bend, getting him to bend around my leg, getting him to bend from the pole, and just use his entire body. And as you can see, I'm going up the long sides here and then walking once I hit the short sides. I want him to get used to doing lots of transitions so we can start building up those muscles properly. And I'm just starting to pop those in on the long sides as well, and then also taking him around the entirety of the arena. Now as you can see by his frame, he is curling up a little bit, and that's just because the boy is literally 4, bless him. So this is me just attempting a circle on the right rein here, and you can see I lose the shoulder a little bit, and that's because he's using his head to kind of balance himself. That's why it moves a little bit. And also circles at such an early stage is actually really hard for a horse to keep the balance on. I remember with Star, we didn't manage circles for quite some time, and canter circles, don't even get me started with those bad boys. But Dave was such a good lad, and just doing the same again once I'm on the left rein, and as you can see he's curling up again, and we just take a little loop there from the side because we're just struggling to keep our balance and just make sure we're trotting in a straight line. So this is all about him learning at these very crucial stages, but he honestly feels like a dream. His trot is so nice to sit to, and I'm really encouraging that nice sexy swinging walk in between times because I really want to encourage the fact that I want that lovely medium walk when it comes to the test. So if we instill it here,
then it'll come much easier once we get higher up the levels. So doing plenty of transition work, so that carries on both reins, and you want to try and do the same amount on both reins as well, because I don't want him to get stronger on one side than he is on the other. And as you can see, due to the movement of his head, there's a bit more than it is on the right rein. This is the rein he does find slightly more difficult. However, I will find that the interesting thing is he managed a complete left 20-meter circle in the middle of the school. Now, coming off the track is very difficult for young horses because they can't use the sides to help them balance themselves. So to say I was surprised at the fact that he managed this on what I thought was his bad rein was pretty cool, but he looked absolutely amazing.
Okay, so that is Dave all finished and all ridden. He is feeling so good. We even managed to do a trot circle, and for those of you who have backed young horses before, we all know how much of a big step that is. So we did manage to do a trot circle on his bad rein, because actually on his good rein, which is the right rein, he's so happy about bending to the right that I lose his shoulder if we come off the track. So it was really interesting to see the strengths and weaknesses at this very, very early stage. But he was such a good boy, and yeah, I'm waiting for the moment when he offers me canter, because then I'll take it. I'm not going to ask for it before then.
So after a morning of riding all 4 horses, it was time to turn them out, and as you can see here, Jensen was not a fan of the grass cuisine and decided to entertain himself by living out his dreams of a giraffe. Good for him. Then it was on to mucking out. Now this is Jensen's bed, and honestly he's the cleanest of all 4, which is great for my mum. So I'm just mucking them out here. So they are on the Bed Down XL bedding, which is a straw shavings combination. It is so nice. Honestly, the bed stays so fluffy. And I'm just taking out a little bit of wet that he's got there before I lay it all back down. And I even entertain myself by making some really neat banks. Although I will say, and you'll see it by the end of this video, I get so annoyed by one pointy bit that I'd left in one corner. Oh well, my OCD's getting to me. So then if you times that bad boy by 4, you have all the yard jobs done for the morning, and all I had to do was bring them in later.
Right guys, so that is all from me today. I super hope you enjoyed watching this video and coming with me this morning. I'm off to go get some lunch now because I'm absolutely starving after all that riding. But yeah, I really had a good time. The clinic was so good. Being able to go through the test and then dissect it with the list 1 judge was awesome. And then little Dave is getting on so well, and you guys had a little peek into my day-to-day life. So once again, super hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it for you. If you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. And until next time guys, from me and all the horses, it is goodbye.